everybody, welcome back to Meals with Marcia. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make some fried squash. I'm excited to show you this, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start my oil on my stove eye. So I'm going to turn it up pretty high, probably the highest setting this one will go. And I'm using an iron skillet today. This is like a non-stick iron skillet. My mother gave me this. She found it at an auction. And it is so good to fry stuff in. I do not make cornbread in this, but I do fry things in it. So, and I'm using canola oil today, just whatever brand you like. And I'm doing like 4 squash, so I just want to coat the pan, the bottom of the pan really good. Because I don't want it to stick. Just let that pan be coated on the bottom. Let's see if I can, yeah, there we go. And it's just, like I said, coated all the way on the bottom. Now I'm going to let that go while I finish cutting up my squash. I've already did 3 of them. I'm going to do 4 today. I've already did 3, but I want to do 1 to show you. This is about the size that I'm going to use. This is a medium squash. These are fresh out of our garden. My husband picked these yesterday. So this is going to be really, really fresh. My husband loves fried squash. It's one of his favorite things. I like squash casserole, and he does like squash casserole. But fried squash is by far his favorite. My whole family likes fried squash. Now, some people like to do squash and onions. My mother-in-law loved that, but my family does not like onions in theirs. They just want squash. But if your family likes onions, go ahead and add that. It'd be a good addition, and it would add a lot of flavor. They cook up really good, and squash and onions go very, very well together. People that stew squash, a lot of times they'll do it with onions as well. All right, so that's my bowl. Like I said, I'm not cooking a ton, but I wanted to show you guys. Now I'm going to sprinkle this with a little garlic powder. So we like garlic for flavor. And then I'm going to do some salt and pepper. Now this is to your taste. Remember, this is a fresh vegetable, so it's not canned, don't have any salt, any seasoning on it. And so I'm going to do some pepper. Just sprinkle it across the top there. And I'm going to do a good generous amount of salt, because like I said, there's no salt in this. And if you want to add more at the end, you can. That's up to you. Now, sometimes when I want the juice, sometimes I'll do the salt and I'll let it set for a little while and the juices start pulling out of that, of the squash. But sometimes if I'm ready to do that and I'm in a hurry, I'll go ahead and I'll just do a little splash of buttermilk, because it will put some liquid in there and it'll coat, maybe just like, you know, a tablespoon or so, maybe 2 tablespoons. And I'll just toss it around with a spoon and kind of get those coated on there, and it'll help the cornmeal stick better. So just kind of toss them around. You absolutely do not have to do buttermilk, but I do it because it gives them a little bit more liquid in there. Now, if you're doing okra, a lot of times, there's a lot of juice in okra, especially if you're cutting it up fresh. They're real slimy and juicy. You can do the buttermilk, but you don't have to. All right, now I'm going to do the cornmeal. This is just a cornmeal mix that I use for my cornbread. And let's see what this is. I think this is 1/3 of a cup. This is 1/4 of a cup. So I'm going to start with that. I'm just going to go in like this, sprinkle it on there, and then I'm going to stir it and see if they're all coated. If not, I'll just do a little bit more. You just want them coated. I think I'm going to do just a little bit more. So, like I said, it's to your liking, and this doesn't have to be exactly precise. It's just to however many squash you're using and, you know, getting them coated. And a lot of people fry their squash individually. I don't. I fry in bunches, and they kind of all stick together, and it's kind of real country, I guess, country looking when it's done. But like I said, my husband loves it. He could eat it every day, I believe. Okay. I think that's going to get it. All right, now the way I can tell if my oil is ready, it looks like it's bubbling a little bit, but I can always just take a small squash and drop it down in there. And you see how that's sizzling? That lets me know that my oil is pretty much ready. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop these in. Let me try one more over here to make sure. No, I may let it go a little bit more. I don't do these individual. This is just how I test the oil. Let's see here. I think it's going to get hot in a minute. Yeah, it's getting there. All right, we're almost there. They're going to dump it in, and then I'm fixing to dump all these in, and I'm going to let them cook for a little bit, and I'm going to time it, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you the stages of where we are, okay? I'll be back in just a second. Hey everybody, welcome back. All right, I think my oil's ready. I'm going to dump every one of these in there. Just going to dump them in really quick. And if you have excess cornmeal, you can drop that in too. That's fine. Set this over here. All right, what I usually do is I take my spatula and just kind of work it all around in there so all the squash gets coated with the oil so it'll cook evenly. Spread it out. All right. Now, like I said, I'm going to let this go. And I got it on high because this is a smaller eye and we need to cook this pretty fast. So I'm gonna let this go and I'll time it and I'll come back and I'll show you the next stage, okay? Just in a few minutes. Hey everybody, welcome back. Okay, now I have got my squash, my oil really good and hot. I had to put 3 or 4 squash in there to test it. And I put it in there and I just poured the whole thing and I've been frying it for about 12 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes. And as you can see, it's crunching up and getting crispy. I'm almost there. I'm fixing to take it up for you. Now, squash will shrink way down when you cook it. So sometimes if you feel like you put it in there and the pan is way too full, it's really going to cook down, okay? And you can see it's kind of rustic looking, but that's the way we like it. That's why my husband likes it. And he wants it to be brown and crispy. So you can see it's brown, and I'm feeling it's really crispy. So I'm fixing to take that up just in a minute. And you can tell because I've cut the squash pretty thin, but if you're worried about the squash being done, you can take your spatula and just push that and they just break up because it don't take very long to cook them. But yeah, this looks great. But you don't want to burn it, you just want it to be good and brown. You just put it out on a paper towel so it'll drain because you do not want all that grease. You need the grease to fry it in, but you don't want all that just sloppy grease when you're trying to eat. Get this out for you. Hot, 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 guys. And you want to spread it out. If you did a bigger amount, you would need to get 2 plates to put it on because, like I said, you want it to be spread out so it'll kind of drain off. Because you don't want all that soggy grease in there. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn this eye off. Ooh, about can't get a hold of it because it's underneath the pan. Okay. I'm going to move this pan over because it's hot and get it out of the way. Oh, and I wanted to show you, see, no stick. No sticking in that iron skillet. The good thing about cooking with an iron skillet is that it holds heat. So once that skillet gets hot, it's going to hold a lot of heat for you and keep things warm. Now that's the finished product, guys. And that's what our homemade squash looks like. Fried squash, anyway. All right, I'm going to give it a little taste. Let me get a fork. See, that one looks like a good one. Get a little crispies there. All right. This one's hotter than Satan's toenails too. Just come out of the fryer. So good. I love squash. It's kind of got a little sweet taste. So delicious. Fresh out of the garden. Now guys, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with squash. We always make squash pickles. We'll make squash casserole. We grill squash. We'll put sometimes we put little, I call them little boats or whatever, where we cut up squash and onions and stuff like that, and we steam them, you know, like on the grill. We can do it that way. There's so much you can do with squash, and it's really good for you, and can't go wrong with it. So we grow it every year, one of our favorite vegetables, and I wanted to share this with you. Now, guys, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Meals with Marcia, and if you click the red notification bell, it's going to alert you every time I post a video. And also, don't forget that I will put in the description what you need for this recipe and everything you're going to need for the recipe and how to do it, okay? And God bless, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.